Welcome to Self-Mastery. This channel, SMF Classes, is designed to give you quality, free, mind-body exercises to improve the quality of your life. The topic of the workshop is the quality of thinking. And really, I was talking to this in the background about how, to my marketing person, Hal, about it. And we live in an empirical society, and the empirical society kind of pushes us in a direction where not only do we have to believe in the power of having an education and everything being pragmatic, but society and our whole education pushes us that way. And I'm not saying that that's a bad thing, but as you go through life, you no doubt recognize that there's a lot more to life than just empiricism and empirical education. And that's really what this is all about, what's underneath that. So I had asked you, I think I sent the question to most of you, to think about what it is that really determined the direction you took in your life. What are the elements that made you become who you are right now, if you think back? Does anybody have any comments on that? I remember when I was younger, you would think back at the year 2000, and you think about where you're going to be and what you're going to be doing, and I'm sure a lot of you've gone through that. And I really had no idea I would be doing what I am right now. I couldn't even guess that. And it's like that for a lot of people. Because having the right idea and having the right plan is part of it, but there's a lot more in life that moves your direction. And that's what we're going to be talking about today. We're going to be talking about the quality of thinking. I will draw a lot of parallels to Taoism. Taoism is an ancient Chinese way of looking at things. And I'm not saying that it's the right perspective or that it's the wrong perspective. It is a perspective, a way of doing things. Hold on 1 second. There's some background noise in there, so you could. What's that? Yeah. Okay. So, anyways, hello. Yeah. Sorry about that. I was getting a lot of background noise through my mic. But anyways. Yeah, so today we're going to be talking about that. The Taoist perspective is everything really is energy. In life, everything comes down to energy. Your direction in life is determined by the energy that's around you. So that makes it very simple. I'm not saying that that's right or that's wrong. So what I've done today in the quality of thinking is I tried to turn that into an empirical or a modern day way of explaining that. And really, that's the way that things work. So the Taoist description really is everything in your life is energy. You are controlled and shaped by the energy inside of you. It either shapes you or you shape it. You can either change the things around you through the energy you direct, or the energy around you changes you. And that's the way. And there's that interaction that's always going on between you. Now in Western terms, or in scientific terms, it's a little bit harder to explain, but really it's the same thing underneath everything. Everything in thinking comes down to pattern. The things that we remember and what we do in our life, our brain all translates it as patterns. You look at this cup that's in front of you. How come you know it's a cup? Go ahead. What goes on in your brain?
I see it.
You see it? Good. The light bounces off, hits back directly in your eye, and reflects back, and then you see a cup. How come you know it's a cup?
I've had it once.
Past experience. Okay, so your brain relates this to a whole bunch of other memories and ideas that you have. It doesn't only just see cup, it sees shape, it sees color, it sees texture, it relates it back to past experiences. Even something as seemingly static as this, or stale as this, will evoke feelings and sensations in you. So everything that you do in life is an interactive process. When you interpret this, can you interpret this as neutrally, or are you going to associate it with a whole bunch of other thoughts and ideas that you have? You'll associate with a bunch of other things. Will you all see the same thing when you look at this cup?
No.
You will see similar things, but you will all have different perspectives based on the angle that you're sitting in, based on your physiology, based on your education, based on what you pull out of it. All right? I have an oversimplified model to explain the way that mental patterns work. There's different levels. On the highest level, we have what we call the cognitive level, the ideas and thoughts that you equate to this. You relate this to symbol, shape, and object. It's a cup. It has a certain form, it has a certain shape, it has a certain color, and you associate it to ideas and thoughts. Now the cognitive aspect of our thinking, as we were talking about in the beginning of the workshop, really to all of us is the most valuable and the only thing, and to a lot of people, empirical thinking is what's most powerful and what is most meaningful. And most people just assume because that's the case, that's what governs our life, that's what governs our decisions. But that's really only one aspect of what's going on. Underneath that, there's a whole other layer of emotional feelings and thoughts and ideas. When you think about this, it brings up some types of emotions. How you perceive this thing is governed by your emotional state, to a large degree. It shapes and it changes it in certain ways, okay? Depending on what you value. We talked in the beginning of the workshop about value structures, what you tend to value more than anything else in your life. Okay, so mentally, at the very top, cognitive level, emotionally, your emotional level that people have. Nowadays, they're talking about emotional intelligence and how do you really tap into that whole idea of getting in touch with your emotional self so you can use that whole intellectual landscape. Because people realize that their emotions, to a large degree, affect the way that they do things, and the delivery and the way that you work with people. It's all a whole emotional landscape. Underneath that is a whole other level that I call the physical level or the physiological level, and that has to do with the movements that you make in your life, the things that you do, the actions that you take in your life, which is a little esoteric for a lot of people, and you don't really think about it, but how you stand. When you stand, the way that you hold your body, the way that you project, the way that you sit, the way that you move, does that affect your thinking? What do you think? How does it affect your thinking? Yes?
Absolutely.
What does everyone else think in your experience? Movement, posture? It does affect you, right? You can change, just like he's saying, you can change your state of mind not only by the emotions that you tend to generate, but by the actions that you perform. You know, you want to become more motivated. If you do something that's active, why do people do exercise? Part of it is to get in shape, but part of it is when you do something like that, it makes you more dynamic. It makes you more motivated. So if you don't do what I typically recommend to people, not everybody wants to train at the degree that I've trained or that my students train, but if you want to make a qualitative change in your state of mind, really, it's very simple. You just go out and every morning you go out for a walk or you do some exercise. And when you're doing that exercise, really engage in the thing that you're doing, like Hal was saying. Really put yourself into it and psych yourself up. Is that what you're doing? Yeah, that's psyching yourself up.